gente. Tonight we're at the Harlem Kettlebell Club with its founder, Jah. Welcome, Jah.
Thank you.
Welcome to the podcast, Jah. We're so glad to have you on Hustle Not Included. For y'all who don't know, he is a friend of the family, and we're super proud of all that he's done and everything that he's accomplished. And I think the first question that everybody wants to know is, what is Jah's cheat meal? Like, what is a treat for Jah?
Oh man, best cheat meal. So I'm a big Thai food person. So if I could do a red curry or drunken noodles, I would do that. If I could have it every day, I would.
No cookies?
I'm not a big dessert person. Not a big sweet person. I like ice cream every so often, but Thai food is where my heart is, man. I love Thai food, and every so often I'm gonna make sure to get some, but within reason.
You know what's crazy? I don't consider like Thai food like a cheat food.
When you see what they put in it, yeah, you see those ingredients. one meal might be 2,000-3,000 calories. You'd be surprised. So gotta be very mindful. But what I will do is I would manage the day knowing that I'm gonna have this higher calorie meal later on. So there's still some balance in there. I'm not just gonna go off the cliff. You know what I mean?
So do you do like the portion size? You like, okay, I can have like just this little bit, and then later on I'll
No. So when I for me, if I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna eat. Right? I don't believe in rationing the cheat meal.
Right.
Have the cheat meal.
Right.
And the next day get back to what you're trying to get accomplished with your food. But you want to have that balance because it teaches you that you can do both and still reach your goals. Okay. If you're always trying to cut here and cut there, you never really have a relationship with food, and you don't have any system in place. And I don't want to have to like ration all day long. It's too much work for people that have stuff going on. They just want to be able to like enjoy something and then move to the next thing. So eat the pizza, eat the cookie, and then get back to work.
What is the inspiration for starting your club, and why Kettlebell?
So Kettlebell is a couple parts. So one, just want to be unique. I'm an Aquarius, and so for me, stepping out the box, not doing what everybody else does, is a big thing. So when I think about kettlebells, I thought about the community and what we don't have access to, and then what we don't know how to use. And based on what I see at the gym, a lot of people are using kettlebells. They're popular, but form and technique aren't as great as it should be. And so for me, I'm just kind of bridging that gap, allowing people to learn how to use them because they are popular, especially during the pandemic when most people were looking for simple tools. Everything in Amazon or wherever was completely sold out, and kettlebells couldn't be found. So you had 1 million people using a tool that they never could use before because it was the only thing that they could get their hands on. So I took that and ran with it. Like, hey, you know what? I know how to use these. I'm proficient with them. All the things you do in the gym with the barbell, with the dumbbell, with machines, you can do with a kettlebell as long as you have, not science, but if you know movement patterns, you know squats, you know rows, you know presses, you know deadlifts. Plug in the kettlebell and do the same stuff and go. And so for me, it was just like, it's just a no-brainer to start marketing it, start promoting it, start doing a lot of workouts around them to get people recognizing me as somebody who is a kettlebell coach or a kettlebell professional. And again, it's just exposure, getting people familiar with a tool they didn't have access to. Now people are going to the gym, they look great. People are they're traveling on vacation, they see kettlebells in the gym, they get excited. Right. So my job in here is beyond what I do here. It allows people to like be self-sufficient and train themselves.
Nice. Jah, what is your background, and did it inspire your fitness journey and your athletic journey?
So a couple parts. I would say subconsciously. So my father passed when I was 9, but one big piece about my father that I remember is he was always in shape, always worked out, always took care of himself. Like his appearance was a big thing. I mean, ironing all his clothes the night before, fresh waves, wanted to look good, wanted to feel good, cologne on. So I just remember him just always being clean, sharp, and like really into like appearance and what he looked like. He used to work out on my block on Lenox Ave. So he would come, my mom hated it. We would go outside with the dumbbells, set up the bench, dead smack in the middle of the block, 131st and Lenox, and just be out there lifting, no shirt on. And she's like, yo.
Why you have to have the shirt on?
Right. So I remember those things. And so I think subconsciously I got into fitness partly because of that, but and then just playing sports. I was an athlete growing up. I played a handful of sports, but basketball was my sport that I got to play in collegiate. I got to for a 4-year starting point guard at Connecticut College. And so you had to be in shape. You wanted to play the next level, you want to compete, you've got to spend some time in the gym, because while you're training and doing the basketball piece, you got to be big, fast, strong, powerful, explosive. So connecting those dots has always just been like that's always been a part of my life. Getting into like fitness itself kind of happened by accident. You know, I never wanted to be a trainer. You know, I wanted to be an architect, I wanted to be an educator. Then I worked in finance for 9 years. So I went all over the place, but like it was still there. Something like an itch was there. And it took for me to get out of some shape, to get back into shape, and then have a few friends ask me for some help. And that's what kind of I hit the ground running after that.
Nice. Did you ever dream of becoming a basketball player, football player, anything in the major leagues?
Oh no, NBA for sure. Right? You couldn't tell me I wasn't going pro. Right? That's everybody, right? So, you know, but you know, when you 5'9", thinking you might be 6'2", and then that never happens, that's all in a different direction, right? So,
and John's nice. I've been on the court with him. I actually remember him from being on the court. Me and him played in Basketball City when it was Basketball City. Yeah. And I remember him, and so when I saw him, in the mutual setting, I'm like, I know the guy from somewhere.
Yeah, those are some good times.
Yeah.
But I thought I was going pro. You know, that didn't happen. But I got a great college experience. I got to play college basketball. It was a big deal. I got to go to school for free. But again, it's just kind of, all those things are kind of what structured how I am now, especially in fitness. Like that organization, having a structure, community, dealing with a lot of people, being a point guard, you're a floor general. So you're managing relationships, you're managing personalities. I got to get people in places at the right time. It's a collective to win. I take all of that stuff into my studio, making sure that everybody feels seen and heard, everyone has a voice, making sure that I'm building everyone up, in the same way. And also just leading by example. Like I work super hard so that you can't ever call me out. So when it's time for me to tell you that you need to pick up the pace, I'm a living testament to that. So I believe in that as well.
This is a great place you have here. What are some of the challenges you have faced maintaining and owning a place like this? I know you had a place before and you were forced to close. So what have been some of those challenges? Because it's hard to rebound back like that.
Yeah, so I've gone through a lot. My first place, 3 years, had a flood. All right, so we had to get out of there. Finally got a space in 2019. That was JTW Fit. Unfortunately, 6 months later, COVID, pandemic, quick shutdowns. And then while that was going on, we had a really bad landlord experience who really just wasn't trying to support us in a way that made sense during the pandemic. So essentially just wanted us to keep paying when we were pretty much down and out, right? We couldn't open. But fast forward to here, I would say fitness is easy for me. The coaching piece is a breeze. I think that just comes natural. What people don't see is the business side of things, right? So how do you get this to run properly behind the scenes? Sales, marketing, client retention. Some days I'm the janitor. Some days I'm social media. Some days I'm not big enough to have this superb team. So I've got to wear a couple different hats. And so while I love what I do, that part can be draining, But at the same time, it's a good problem, right? Knowing that I need these things and that people want this in the community, that's what keeps me going. But, you'd be surprised how much, and then you have those people who stereotypically think that oh, you're just a trainer, right? And that's unfortunate because if they only knew how much effort that we put into this, how much studying I do, how much money I spend on education and how much I, behind the scenes just really dive into community and building this in a way where people actually feel like something they're a part of. Right. Those are the things that are usually hard. But again, you got so much feedback from the community. People love what we're doing. That's what keeps me going on some days where sometimes I really don't feel like doing any of this, So I love that I had that support and guidance, because some days you just need somebody to tell you to keep going when you don't have it yourself.
How did you handle the pandemic? Were you able to keep your doors open before the complete shutdown? Did you transition online? And if so, do you think that you would prefer the online or the in-person type of workout?
Definitely better in person. I think that we all need that in person in our lives. The virtual stuff was great until it wasn't. That's why gyms, I think, aren't going anywhere. Most people are all this online stuff, I can find a free workout online, but there's nothing like someone in front of you, motivating you, coaching you, being able to touch you, put you in position to make sure you're doing things the right way. And there's nothing better than community, being able to have like-minded people in a room with you and pushing each other motivated. You can only do that but so much through a screen.
Right.
But to rewind back to the pandemic, those are some of the best times. Despite deaths and everything that happened, those are some of the best times for me. One, peace of mind, relaxation, got to go home and reevaluate my business and figure out what's working, what wasn't working, things we need to get rid of, things we need to add. And that virtual program was it was dope. We pivoted fast. We closed on the Tuesday, March 16th, opened up a virtual program on Saturday. I had 65 people on screen in 4 days. I'm a problem solver. Like when something happens, I'm not the crier who's gonna sit there and not that that's wrong, but I'm like, what's next? I need to figure out how we can go. And we logged in there. I didn't know what I was doing. Laptop wasn't really working. Wi-Fi was a little spotty, but we got a good workout in, and I got great feedback. And I took that feedback and just learned how to make that virtual thing a little bit better. So I went and got better equipment, better Wi-Fi, different computer, because I knew we were gonna be here for a bit, and I didn't know how long. So I'm like, I might as well just be prepared to be doing this for a while. The biggest thing that I did was I turned my virtual program into basically as similar as it could be as you would be in studio. So we had 3 to 4 classes a day, strength training, HIIT training. We had a kettlebell class. I reached out to a bunch of my peers who were looking to probably like keep coaching, make some money. Added yoga, added mobility, had a dance class. We had Pilates. So I created this one-stop shop for fitness. $10 a class, kept it super affordable so that everybody could log in. And it was cool because I was able to actually continue to pay the rent at the studio that we weren't even in.
Wow.
Right. So that was a huge testament to, like, again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you got to put it out there.
Right.
Because you can always pivot and change, but if you never put anything out there, there's nothing to change. And so I was just happy that even though there was a lot of mistakes and bumps, we just went with it. And it was gold, man. We did a class for essential workers. We had 122 people on screen. I'm swiping back and forth on the Zoom, but it was fun. I'm in my studio and I'm just yelling at the computer screen. I got the music playing and we were just rocking. It was like, and it felt like I had people in the room because that's how much energy you could get off the screen from people in a weird way. Would I go back to it? Probably not. I love the in-studio stuff, but I would add it as like a supplement to the business so that, because there are people that don't live here that would love to train with us. So figuring out how to do that in here would be like a next step.
Partnerships. How has that helped you and your company?
So partnerships are cool, man. I think it helps with the business, also helps with like personal brand. I don't tend to like go after a lot of brands and things like that. It usually has come from like recommendations, which is always great. That means people are talking about you in rooms you're not in.
Right.
But they're helpful. They get you exposure. They get people more eyes on you. And it has definitely helped us get more people in the gym, or it has helped me to get on like Good Morning America. I was on Pix 11. I got to work with Men's Health. So these are like, I have a thing with Spectrum that's coming up. That is a commercial that's going to drop. So like people just seeing the impact and the work, they plug me into stuff without me even thinking about. Like I thought about you. The one partnership that I went after myself was with Lululemon. So I took it upon myself to walk into a store one day and was like, hey, I see you got an ambassador thing coming up. Here's what I do in the community. Here's how I think we could work together. Here's why I think I should be an ambassador. And fast forward like a few weeks later, same deal. A couple of people that were already ambassadors mentioned me into meetings. I got to be on a Black History Month panel, Lululemon sponsor. And so it just everything started to roll. And then maybe like a few months later after that, they invited me in and they brought me on board. So I'm in year 2. I have another like 2-year contract. So that's cool. Like I love all that stuff. One thing I do love about it is I like brands who align with what I'm trying to do and want to help elevate what I'm trying to do. And obviously product is involved, wearing the stuff, but they want to highlight all the stuff that I'm already doing, the impact that I'm trying to create in the community. Those are who I really want to work with, because otherwise it doesn't align with what I'm trying to get or what I'm trying to accomplish.
Right. Nice.
While I was undergoing chemotherapy, working out was vital for my recovery. Have you ever considered starting a class for anyone who is in remission or anyone that is going through chemotherapy?
So one, shout out to you, because that's amazing, man. So no, I haven't. I'm always like brainstorming. I love when people have those types of ideas. I typically, when I say stay in my lane, just meaning like I know what I know, and I don't know. If someone came to me like, this is a great idea, could we do something? Absolutely. But sometimes people come and they have these like amazing ideas, because sometimes you're in it. I'm stuck in it, and so I'm just like, this is working. I'm just gonna go with what I'm doing.
Right.
But there's a lot of avenues I'd love to go with fitness. Like my job and what I would like to do is be someone who could fill a lot of gaps and be as supportive as I can, obviously within my knowledge base. And then anything that I don't know specifically, I think it can still run through our brand. But what I do is I bring in coaches who are experts and have that familiarity so that I can take a step back and just do the operations and let them be that coach in the room because this is what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. So I love the idea. It's just a matter of like figuring out who should be involved and then going from there.
So for our viewers and your viewers who might be interested in one day getting into kettlebells, give us 5 exercises that they can start with to get them in motion to possibly want to come and join Harlem Kettlebell Club.
Top 5, come to class. There you go.
I love it.
No, but
I love it. I love it.
So here's the thing, right? I get a lot of this, and there's nothing wrong with it. But hey, I'm gonna start working out before I come to you, or I'm gonna get in shape before I come to you. And while I get what they're trying to do, I'm a different coach from anybody else, right? You can't take physics to study for the history test, right? That's kind of how I look at it. You gotta just come in here, immerse yourself, let day one be day one. If it's a good class, if it's a bad class, you have a baseline now. And now you can, got that first one out. Because usually the first one is the one, like, you're just nervous. I get the people that come in, you can see the shoulders up here, they're freaking out. They're scared, right? Just got to get through that one. Now, if you wanted to, like, start doing some kettlebell stuff, keep it really simple. I have my 5 basic moves that I teach people in the beginning anyway. Deadlifts, rows, we do this thing called a clean for power, some overhead presses, and then we do squats. These are movements that you do every day, dumbbell, barbell, right? And all you're doing is just taking the dumbbell out, swapping the kettlebell, and do the exact same thing. So these are like your we call it like your traditional movement patterns. Okay. If you do your traditional movement patterns, you give yourself access to the kettlebell in a simple way that isn't a lot of the fancy, flashy stuff that people post online, which is what scares people away from here because they see that and think that that's what's happening here. So that's what I would say. But you got to just come to class, man. We have a good vibe. Coaches are great. They're going to modify it as needed. They're going to put you in position to win. And then the members are going to support you in a way that you've probably never been supported. You're not just a number here. People want to know your name, where you are. They nosy. They want to know who you with, where you hang out. But that vibe is helpful because it helps you want to come back because now you feel like you have a community, you have friends, and you elevate each other.
So many of our viewers are asking, is kettlebell weight training or is it for weight loss?
I love these questions.
Because they ask me and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not a coach.
So let's talk. So it's weight loss. None of this is weight loss, right?
Right.
Weight loss is nutrition.
Right.
So I don't care how many workouts I put you through. You could be in it every day. You got me for 1 hour a day. You have 23 hours on your own to F this up. So if you're not eating well or spending time on nutrition and figuring out how much you need to eat to lose or gain, because there are people that want to gain weight, right? I'm not big on weight loss only. But whatever your goal is, nutrition is priority.
So no cookies. No cookies, guys.
You can have a cookie as long as it's included in the calorie count that you need towards your goal. Again, I'm all about balance. You're gonna come in here and get stronger. You're gonna come in and get stronger. You're gonna build muscle. You're gonna move better. You're gonna function better. Right? When you come in here, you spend all this energy and this time doing this stuff. By default, most people will start to figure out the nutrition piece because they're like, I'm coming in here doing this work, and maybe I'm not seeing the aesthetic goal that I want. And that's where the other part comes in. So eating a little bit better. You don't have to have it perfect, but you got to start implementing more protein, start getting more veggies, start hydrating, getting more steps in. That doesn't take a lot of energy. It's right. It's getting warmer out. Go for a long walk. Get on the phone. Talk to your friend. But getting out and just getting some steps in, 10,000 steps a day, 20,000 steps, you'll be surprised how many calories you burn in something that's super simple as walking or a bike ride. Right. Everything you do doesn't need to be here. Let's be super intense. Because then your body can't recover and then you're high stress. Now your cortisol levels up. That makes it even harder to lose weight. So there's a lot of factors that come in, but you can just manage the food a little bit. Eat a little bit less.
So it's the 80-20.
80-20, 70-30 if you need to. Right? Start off at 60-40. Give me something. Right. But it can't be the other way. As long as you're majority doing well, we're in a good spot because most people just aren't. Right? And then get in here a few times a week. You don't have to kill yourself, right? Strength training 2-3 times a week is gold for somebody who hasn't been training or is new to this stuff. Right. Trying to come in 7 days a week, I would never tell someone to do that. Right. It's hard. You need time to actually recover, heal, so that you can grow. So figuring out a routine that works for you and then just sticking to something for longer than 2 weeks. Yep. Right? Most people, they don't see the result. They think it's not working. I don't know if you ever seen this meme, but just a guy's like chipping away at the wall and it's like the goal is right on the other side. It's one of those situations. Like you're right there. It's just that we live in a society where people want things immediately. If it's not happening, they're moving to the next thing, or they'll cheat their way, not cheat, but they'll look for the fastest route, which could also be very unsafe. So if you want to have a better relationship with food, you want to have a better relationship with movement, you got to do something for a significant amount of time so you can actually see something happen. You'd be surprised how like easy this stuff is when you just apply yourself. It's only hard because we make it harder. Right? We don't stick to anything for much. So
mind over matter.
Yeah. And it's hard. I'm not saying it's not hard, but like you got to get out your own way. That's really it.
Coming from a C-section mom, let's say someone walks in through your door and says, hey, I had a C-section a few months ago and I would like to get back in shape. What advice would you give them?
Well, fortunately, you are speaking to a pre-postnatal certified coach. So in December, I actually had my entire team through Pronatal Fitness. I had them mandatory, all certified as pronatal coaches. My studio is 99% women. And so for me, from a caring and concern standpoint, and also from a business standpoint, it only makes sense to have certifications that target your demographic who are here. Our age range of people that are having kids, thinking about having kids, we're all in that area. And so being able to service them and be able to help them now while they're pregnant, postpartum, is huge. One, you keep clients. From a business standpoint, they don't go anywhere, right? But you also have like they're committed and they have this like they feel safe, right? Knowing that you have this knowledge to be able to modify things, to correct things, to figure out how to put them in better positions. So I have one woman now who's probably, I think she's about a month away from having a child. We have one, she's on maternity leave now. She had a child, she went through full term here. Being able to guide them is like the most amazing thing ever. Because that confidence that they have in here, knowing that they can continue to do all the things they've been doing, work really hard, don't have to worry, and then, unless you obviously have like a complication.
Right.
Now, in terms of like the C-section, there's things you have to work on, right? There's core recovery drills that you may have to do at home, right? To better prepare yourself to be here. But you can absolutely be here. All it is the same way I would modify something for someone that's brand new, never worked out. We're just giving you an alternate exercise. The class still rolls. You can still get in really good shape. We're just making sure that we give you something that keeps you safe, right? As you start to recover from the C-section.
Right.
Yeah.
How does your business model coincide with what you want to do for the community? I know that you said your pops was big in the community and you kind of took that on. So how do you mesh, wanting to grow this business to as big as possible and still do for the community?
So there's a couple things. I mean, I think it's not as hard as people make it. So I watched, like I said, my father in the community. The main thing is my mom, right? My mom, I watched her take care of us with nothing. I watched her give back in the community all the time. So she's making food for the community. She's at the church. She's like always in like just the most helpful person with zero in her pocket. So when you see that, I'm like, there's no way that I can't figure out how to do that in my life. And that just became a big part of me. I like to see people win. I'm not a gatekeeper of information. Like if I can help you in some way, you should do so. It's hard enough out here trying to figure it out. Why hold on to something if you know you can elevate somebody right there in that moment? So when I look at fitness, the community piece is more important than what we do in here. Okay. Most people don't have places where they feel comfortable, confident, seen, heard, and they feel they can be there all the time and be themselves, authentic. That's how I am. I want to be able to walk into a room. I want to be me. If I have to feel like I have to change myself or like alter myself in like ways that don't feel comfortable, I don't want to be in that space. And so, and I've been to gyms and I've gone to other classes as a way of kind of like looking at what other people are doing to check off what I'm not going to do, and or finding bits and pieces of things that I like. So that's kind of how I operate. I'm like, this should be community. It should feel good. That's the first part. If you're comfortable, you're more likely to come back. If it's already off-putting, I'm probably not going to see you again. And so I got to make sure that's in line, and that's where I have to make sure my coaches understand that. They have to be like the value statement, the mission statement, what we're about, what we're trying to accomplish. If they're not on board with that, they can't be here either. Right, because I don't get to see everybody anymore. Now they got to come and take your class first. So those are big. Like I said, the community pieces, and then we don't have a lot of fitness uptown. Right. It's a desert, right? Yeah. There's very few. I've had 3 of the spaces that have been here. We got a couple of spots now, and even to get to things, everything is like 10, 20 blocks away,
Yeah.
right? You go
So
downtown,
fun.
there's a gym on every corner, right? Everywhere. And so you have access, you have the resources. So for me, like, this is so important because there's not a lot going on in the community, and I have an opportunity to like make a huge impact. And so you got to get people in the door. And so, and it's free to be nice to people, man. Like, you know, it's too free to be nice. There's no reason to be, we got enough going on. Just treat people with kindness, you know, help them when you can. And if you can't, get out the way.
Nice.
You know?
Ja, what is one lesson you have learned as an entrepreneur in your industry?
Man, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think like I'm probably one of the most resilient people out there, man. I've been through a lot, like losing a space, pandemic, landlords, you know, having to pivot, COVID, you know, just like all of these things would send most people like to hell and back. Like they would just quit. But like being resilient is super important to be an entrepreneur. You're gonna hear a lot of no's before you get the one yes that makes sense. And that one yes could be the game changer, right? That elevates you to a whole nother level, and then life changes for you. And I've had a few yeses that have like shifted me to starting to move towards something like really, really good. And I can feel it. It's on the way. It's just a matter of like when. And so I just keep my head down and just roll with the punches, man. Like the biggest thing I would say though is ask for help. Something that I'm not very good at is asking for help, right? There are people who are entrepreneurs who are in the industry who have done this 10 times over, right? It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not know, right? If someone can help you and guide you the same way that I try to pour into people, let somebody else pour into me, which has been hard for me. And ever since I've opened myself up to that, life has changed. More relaxed, I'm more calm. Like things make more sense. I have more direction. I got more strategy. Because I'm talking to people who, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like they did it already. Why am I even trying to reinvent the wheel? So like that has been super helpful. And you know, not to get into the therapy thing, but talking to some people, man. Like therapy has been super, super helpful. Just knowing that I don't have it all together and that I'm not supposed to have it all together. But also being able to admit that and then like let it out.
It's
like
growth.
weight off his shoulders. It's growth. Because it allows me to pour back into people in a more meaningful way when I've kind of got some clarity around who I am, what I'm doing.
Right.
It has allowed me to make this space, because you know, for year one was a little tricky. I didn't know what direction I wanted to go with the space, and like the energy was off because I was so used to what I had before. So I had to like really step back and go, okay, you got to pivot and like make this something brand new, right? Still, there's still elements, things that are like community and how I operate, but let it be what it is. Like the people that are coming in, they're going to kind of create the experience and the vibe for you. And so just talk to them and like pinpoint what are the buzzwords around what they feel about the space. Right. And what they're saying, that those consistent things, that's your space, whether you like it or not. Yeah. And so I just like lean into that stuff and go. So like all of those little things come together have like made me more whole. And so I've been able to just give that back to my coaches to make sure that they're in line, they feel good about the space. And then allow them to then double that down and pour it back into the members. And so now the space runs without me. I teach twice a week. I don't have to be here as often. Things are running well. I can go on and like actually do business development. I can work on what the next plan is. I can look at opening something else. That like peace of mind is gold.
Nice.
All right, Josh, so we got a game that we like to play. It's called Eso o Esto, this or that. So the first question that I want to ask you is, squats or lunges?
Lunges.
Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Oh, man. I'm going with the king, man.
Wait, time out. What if people don't know who the king is?
They know who the king is. Right? They know who the king is. Born ready, baby. I'm going to get a lot about this one. I know. Don't worry. You know what? It's going to give you some engagement. Make sure y'all post that one.
Let's go to some fitness. All right. Schwarzenegger or Ronnie Coleman?
Oh, man. Wow. I'm going to go Schwarzenegger. Only because I think like a lot of the old school stuff, they kept it real, raw, simple. Nowadays, man, people just got too much science behind everything. They just make things more complicated than they need to be. Arnold was like, get in there, get the pump, go till failure, and get jacked. And sometimes that's what people need. Some people just need to work hard. Right? Forget all the X's and O's. You don't even work hard. So everything else doesn't even matter. Let's go with Schwarzenegger.
Nice.
What's more annoying, someone who grunts when they're working out or someone who is on their cell phone doing nothing on a machine?
No, the sitting around for sure. Like grunting.
The grunting
at
drives
least-
me crazy.
At least it sounds like effort, though, right? I can almost believe
I'm
that
like,
you are
what's wrong with
working
him?
hard. If you're not if you're on the phone, you clearly you didn't come here to really work out. Now,
Yeah,
if you're in your
that's
rest
true.
period,
What are your
your
rest
actual
period?
rest period on the phone, cool. But if it's been 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and you're still on the phone, I'm annoyed because like I would have been done already. I'd have hit my 3 sets and been on my next exercise.
Okay.
Grunting for me is, again, it can be a little obnoxious, but at least you're working hard.
Okay.
Or it looks like you work hard.
Majority of the time it's-
Also, I got my headphones on, so I'm good. I probably throw a grunt out every so often too, man. So.
Now, it's the people who are not doing a lot that it gets annoying. Like,
Yeah.
bro, that's like 50 pounds, bro.
Yeah, you
And
curling a
OD.
10-pound weight.
It's crazy.
Yeah, then I'm kind of like, all right.
you. I'm like, I'm not.
There's some attention seekers for sure.
Yes, yes.
But, I mean, fake it till you make it, man.
I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that either. All right, treadmill or outdoor running?
For me, I prefer, I ran a half marathon. That was kind of cool.
Congrats.
I like outdoors, I think. I think outdoors, at least it gets you, if you can find a good path to run, the sightseeing part of it, the people watching part of it, it can let your brain can kind of shut off and just kind of move. When you're on the treadmill, it's monotonous and you're seeing the same people and it's just like, it can be a drag for people.
Right.
So I think if you're somebody who needs action and visual stuff, then get outside. If you can put your headphones on and put your head down, go for it.
On my bucket list, I would love to run a marathon. What is training like for that?
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot. So you're gonna need to, one, start really small, right? That's a big thing. 26.2 miles. It's a lot of miles. Don't try to go out day one and run 10. Like you got to find a baseline. Go out and run half a mile. See what happens. See how you wake up the next day.
Yeah.
Because the thing with running, just like with fitness and working out, is there's a baseline, there's a tolerance level that
Right.
you have. And most people don't know their tolerance. And most people, when they're trying to get in shape fast or trying to do things fast, they go crazy and they're sore and they can't walk for days. You want to go out and do the bare minimum. Day one, jot it. The next time you go out, add a little bit and add a little bit. And then from there, there's apps and stuff that can help you to start training for the marathon, right? You plug it in, it'll say, what date is it? Give you a date, and are you an avid runner? You're just a beginner? And it'll tell you, you're running half a mile today, right? And you have a couple different runs throughout the week that'll guide you and build you up week to week so that you don't get hurt. There's a lot of people that end up getting injured before they even get out there because they just, the mileage plus trying to strength train, not properly sleeping, not properly hydrating, not fueling, you end up done before you even get a chance to get out there.
Right.
So it's doable. You can definitely do it. I've seen some amazing people out there. Every type of person has finished a marathon. Right. So everyone's capable, but the training piece is just important. Just be mindful and be patient too.
You think it takes like about a year for training before you even consider?
I would say, I'd say yeah. Yeah, I would say yeah. And you want to just give yourself enough time, like no rush. Like, give yourself enough time to like train and get acclimated because the strength training part is really important. This is what people don't do. A lot of runners, they run for the sake of running, thinking they're going to get better at running. And a lot of times the strength, you have to be strong enough for those demands on your body. And so that's where coming to a place like Harlem Kettlebell Club is helpful because we're going to give you the strength training so that you can actually go out there. And again, as somebody who got a chance to run 2 half marathons, I had to train myself differently to go and run. I couldn't do all the aggressive things I wanted to do. I had to be very mindful of muscles, recovery, things of that nature. So I can speak to the running piece and training at the same time now because I had to really dial it back. And it was hard because there's so many things I like to do. So, but it was fun. It's fun. And when you cross that finish line, like it's nothing better than like getting that medal and just being like, yo, I just did something that I never thought. I hated running. So for me to go out there and run 13
A lot of people are
twice
like, boring.
was a lot, but it was accomplished and it just gave me something else to add to my bucket list that really wasn't on it in the beginning. So we might run another one this year. We'll see.
Nice. All right, burpees or mountain climbers?
Oh, I love burpees, man. Yeah, I used to give out a lot of burpees. I'm a better coach now, so I don't.
Military.
But I like burpees. I think
Burpees,
I think burpees done correctly have really good benefits. Some people do them, they do them wrong. They slam themselves to the floor. That's not really a burpee. That's just kind of like get me through the workout. But if you can do them the right way, there's a lot of benefits because it's a full body movement, right? So I think, if you really needed to, you can give somebody 60 seconds of them things and like
No joke.
Yeah, they good.
That's the business.
Mountain climbers are boring as shit, man. It's on the floor. It's one thing. It's. I'm dynamic. I like to be able to like move and go.
I can't do
different
burpees for the
directions.
life of me. I'll stay right on the floor like,
Most
what? You need to help me up. Early morning workouts or late?
Early for sure. Yeah, early morning. By early morning or like, 6 a.m. would be lovely if I can get up. But I love an 8, 9 o'clock. I've got some fuel in. I've been up for a little bit. Brain is turned on. I can go. After 5 o'clock, I used to do that. Worked in finance. I had to go after work. I was getting it done because I have the capacity. But you have so many hours in a day. You're exhausted. You dealt with people, life. I'm good.
What's that self-talk like when you don't want to go to the gym?
What's the self-talk like?
Yeah.
So let me tell you what I used to do.
I don't want to go today, but we're going to make it happen.
No, so what I used to do is this. If I didn't want to take my gym bag to work. So when I packed my bag and left it at the front door. Nice. So when I came home, you open the door, I take the bag and I go to the gym. Nice. So you got to set up, if you know you like you do, and if you sit on the couch, it's over. If you know you just don't go, right? It's more of I know how I am. Right. And you got to put things in place to get you out of those habits. So if going home is the worst thing and carrying the gym bag is an inconvenience, deal with that inconvenience. Because that inconvenience then gets you to the gym. When you start looking and feeling better, that's not an inconvenience anymore.
Right.
All right. So you got to put those things in place, those elements, because it's easy. I'm lazy as hell sometimes. Like, I love working out, but I don't like being in the gym for a long time. And some days I'm just like, I just want to sit and watch TV as well. Yeah. But I'm like, who am I to tell somebody to be consistent and then I'm not? I can't. And you don't even know that I'm not going to the gym, but in my heart, I can't do that to people, right? Or to myself. So you just got to get up and go, man.
Right.
Again, I think the other part is, for anybody listening, keep your workouts and stuff short. Like, give yourself, if you're not ready for an hour, go every day for 30 minutes, right? And then, or go 2-3 days a week for 30 minutes and get a really good, hard 30-minute workout. I got some 20-minute workouts online right now that most people can't get through, and they work out for an hour. Because the smaller the workout, the more intentional, the more intensity, and you're done. Right. Pick really good movements and go.
Right.
People, I don't have an hour, so I stay home. That's BS, right? Time is what you make of it.
Yep.
I got 5-minute workouts, 7-minute workouts. It's just terrible, right? But most people will find any excuse not to go versus like, let me go get something done. And that getting something done ends up being the check marks that you need. Like, I went to the gym 5 days this week. Don't forget about the time. Yeah. I went 5 times. When the last time you went 5 times? Right?
Right.
You need to look at those things as a kind of like a to build from there. So.
What's next for Ja? What's next for Harlem Kettlebell Club?
What's next? So Kettlebell Club, I think I'm still trying to elevate this. There's a lot of things I want to start offering here. So we're looking at like different workshops. So I want to bring in other coaches that teach different modalities that we don't. Again, I'm trying to expose the community to all the things fitness related. I don't want you to have to leave the community to go and do it.
Right.
So partner with people that do, we have this thing like Animal Flow and Steel Mace. There's like these new bags that just came out. So like these are things that we can add to the workshops without adding it to the studio. So you can come in once a month and you learn something new. And if you want to explore that, we've put you in front of some coaches that are capable of teaching you that if you want to do more. The other part we're doing is just like renting the space. So again, I talk about not gatekeeping, wanting to like be able to help other coaches. So there's 2 things for me is I would love to build my own certification. So like a kettlebell certification. And so I would gear that towards coaches who want to learn how to use kettlebells for themselves and also to be able to coach their clients a little bit more effectively. So that takes a second to figure out curriculum and things like that. But that's something I'm working on. Online programming. So I use an app called Train Heroic where I program workouts for people to do on their own at the gym. We talk about what your space looks like, where you train at, what equipment you have access to, and we'll build out 4-week, 5-week, 6-week programs that if you're someone who's like self-sufficient, can't make it here, but you know how to train on your own and you want to train on your own with guidance. So there's that. And the last piece, I just shot a 12 workout or 24 workout series. So workout series, kettlebell specific. That's going to be dropping in a few months. We're still working on editing. But again, that was just, my goal is really just expand my reach. I want to be able to reach people that can't necessarily be in front of me all the time. So these are like a couple of ways to go about doing it.
Always stay curious and keep learning. That's the advice that someone has given me. What advice has someone given you that has resonated with you throughout the years?
Oh man. Stay curious. I mean, that's always the one right there. Piece of advice for most people is give yourself grace. I think that's huge. Like I said, I'm doing well. I can be doing better. I'm my biggest critic, but also you got to give yourself grace. Like understanding that like things take time. Be patient with yourself. You know, you are worthy. You're gonna have to just work for it. And things, you know, some things are gonna come a little bit harder, and that's also okay. If you don't have it all together, cool. Reach out for help, like I mentioned earlier. Just kind of living in that and understanding that like you are doing all that you can within your capacity. If you're not, then self-correct that and get to that point. But if you know you've exhausted all your angles, you're working really hard, it's cool, right? Some things don't work out, some things do, but it's also okay. I'm on the side of like, try, and if I fail, I'm okay with it. But I'm not okay with never putting out some energy and effort and then wondering what could have been.
It is coin flip time. If you get heads, we would like to know about your childhood hero. And if you get tails, please give your younger self a message.
So I got a coin. Let's do a little quick flip. Tails.
I knew I had a feeling tails. Oh man, a message to my younger self. Well, one, I would say thank you for remaining true to yourself, for being consistent, for being nice, for recognizing that you didn't have it all together, for staying the course, staying out of trouble, for listening to my family and my parents, for listening to my coaches. I was fortunate enough to have a lot of guidance where I could have gone in a different direction and been in the streets and doing all the crazy stuff. But something in me knew that there was something bigger for me. And I always felt like I had sort of like a shield over me. When there was days where I should have been or was gonna do something I shouldn't have been, there was always somebody right there to be like, take your ass home or like go to school. So I think like that's for me, like I appreciate myself for that. And just I think I gave myself grace without really knowing what that was growing up. Got to college, very confused, didn't know what I want to do, no really direction. I know I love sports, and so that's what kept me going. Like I'm gonna do well because I want to play this game I love. But just like knowing that there was something without knowing exactly what it was, kind of always kept the light turned on of like something better is on the way. So I'm appreciative of that. I think just like, and obviously where I'm at now is just like a testament to just not quitting, never being resilient as hell, fighting through a lot of stuff, watching my mom go through a lot of things. And then seeing my sister, just being how active she was and how much a role model she was. Like just finding those people that, and like, all right, I'm taking bits and pieces from them to kind of keep me, on pace and on board with like what I need to be doing. So it's kind of cool. Like I'm talking, I can see, like you can see yourself. I can see myself here. I can see myself there. But yeah, like, childhood was dope, man. Like I won't say, it was a struggle, but I had the most fun being poor and not having anything.
Right.
Like the most fun. Right. Having some money in your pocket sometimes is like, and being able to do stuff is weird. Like it comes with a lot of headache and other struggles that you don't really get. Yeah, it's just different, right? And like not having anything was like, like I could just chill, play my sports, go to school, play my video games. I was the happiest I've ever been. I'm happy now with a wife and a kid, and like this is a different like environment that I'm in. But like it took being that age and now to being the age of now, and in between was like a lot of everything else. So it's like we're like my happiest points are the furthest points away. Right. So
real quick, our podcast is called Hustle Not Included. And the meaning behind that is kind of like we believe that everybody's born with natural talent. Some people find it right away. Some people find it later on in life. But there's always that other part that you have to add, the hustle part to add to get to where you want to get to. So how do you navigate your natural born talent with that other part, that hustle that you got to put in to get to where you got to get to?
What's the quote? It's hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So that's a big one for me. I love that quote a lot because I think about, and this is not like a shade to anybody, but like I look at some of my friends or people I know that have been in the industry longer than me, or just people I don't know that like I recognize from social media and stuff, and like we're all doing really well. But I think what separates me is like these guys are smart, they're talented, like they know their stuff, but it's the other stuff. It's the hustle. It's the grind. It's the being okay with hearing no, being okay with things not being perfect, not getting every opportunity just sent your way because you feel like it should. That's what separates me in a lot of ways, because like I'm going after everything that I want. Very intentional about it, focused on it, and not letting anything get in the way of that. And not expecting anything as well. So that's where that hustle comes in. Also, like I said, growing up with nothing, man, you find a way. I've been finding a way my whole life. Adversity doesn't bother me, right? And I'm a big problem solver. When something happens, I'm like, all right, next play. Sports, you miss a shot, next play. So it all comes back to like how I grew up, my upbringing in sports and things like that. That hustle is important, right? Because even if the smartest person in the room with no drive, you go nowhere. You get left behind. The last piece I'll say is this. There are people in this world who have audacity and confidence, and they find themselves in opportunities and places that they probably should not be or never thought they would be, because they act like they own the room. Like they walk in like, it's a yes already. You need to have a little bit of that. It takes some time to get to that point, but if you have some of that stuff, you'd be surprised how many people vibe with you, connect with you, put you in places, because I could teach you how to do this stuff. If you're coming in ready to learn and you're here and you're present, I will take that person over a person who comes in like, you got to pick me. Like I'm smarter than everybody in the room. Right. You don't want to be that guy. So,
what's the vision for you 3 years down the line?
3 years. 3 years down the line. Let's see. My wife gonna kill me, but maybe another kid.
You need another baby.
We'll see. Gonna bust me upside my head here. Maybe. But 3 years from now, another studio. So that's been my goal. I want another location. So I'm trying to expand the business, different model, different concept. But again, like something in Harlem where I can give more than I can here. So not so kettlebell focused, a little bit of everything else that modalities that I want to tap into. A little more freedom. So having these things like really fully functioning on their own so that I can be super present. My daughter will be 3.5, 4, but just really present as a father, really present as a husband. I want to travel a lot more. So that's important. Like getting this stuff in place where the systems and things are just structured in a way where I feel really good about being somewhere else and it is running smoothly. Nice. So that's where we are.
So I'm gonna throw just a little idea out at you.
I love ideas.
So when you open up this new space, are you going to give mothers the opportunity to? I know you don't have daycare, right? But are you going to give them the opportunity? There's a lot of classes right now where they give mothers the opportunity to bring their babies to work out in front of them. Would that be something you consider?
I think everything is fair game. What's funny is a woman last year, she was like, you should find a big enough space where like you could offer child care. Right. And I was like, well, that's a really big space. But but the idea was great. She's like, yo, it's a high demand. We just, trying to pay for daycare and pay for somewhere to, train. And then, so it ends up being like a lot of money going out. Whereas like if this one space could provide all these services, so you do really well. So I kept that in the back of my mind, thinking about a space or something that could kind of blend both. So those would be great. But like I said, in terms of me, I want to be able to affect as many people as possible. So if these are classes that are one-offs, workshops, on the schedule consistently, we can go a lot of different directions with it. Again, I think there's something for everyone. And I think for me, I just want to be able to tackle as many as I can, again, while staying in my lane and making sure that it's something that like aligns with the mission. Again, my clientele is always going to be 99.9% women. So any ideas that women to bring into the table are all great ideas because these are people that I'm with all the time. They know better what they need than I know. And so for me, I got to ask questions. Otherwise, you're just throwing stuff out there for people and they're not asking for it. That's a sure way for business to close, Right. So that'd be great.
So, Ja, we're going to close out. And first, I want to give a big shout out to our first official sponsor, Euphoric Nails. Make sure you guys follow them on Instagram at Euphoric Nails. And secondly, we want to thank you for being on our podcast. We want to thank you for everything you've done in the community. Hopefully people see what you're doing and it inspires the generation that's coming to want to get more involved, to take care of their health. And not only the new generation, we always look at them as inspiring them, but also the adults. Sometimes the adults need to see adults doing things in the community, and that might inspire them to want to join and do things the way you have done. So thank you for being a role model. We need more people like you. Thank you for building in the community. Thank you for staying in the community. And thank you for wanting to expand. And we're excited to see what Ja got going on next and in the future. Thank you.
Shout out to our viewers. Don't forget to save, share, and subscribe for more content.